Yeah. This is your boy, Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on another dose, another opportunity at Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. As we always do, we start the show with gratitude. I appreciate you guys for being here. I'm always grateful to be in the presence of beautiful people. Make sure you guys smash the like button. Make sure you guys continue to comment, share the content, and also, most importantly, make sure you guys are subscribed to the show. It goes a long way. The likes, the subscribes, the comments, the shares, all that stuff is literally currency in the YouTube space. And I really appreciate you guys for being so hands-on, for being so integral to the success of Chalk It Up Sports. It means a lot to me, and I definitely, absolutely, unequivocally do not take it for granted. Obviously, a lot's been going on in media. Obviously, in the music world, obviously, a lot's been going on. And in the world of sports, especially when it comes to the NFL, the NFL draft ended recently. A lot of teams are in their rookie mini camp or rookie training camp. They're getting a lot of the guys acclimated to their new digs, to the city, to the facilities, things of that nature. To the coaching staff, installing a lot of different things with the players, making sure they understand terminology, things of that nature. All the players, all the rookies, they spoke to the media, a lot of things to get into. So, again, I appreciate you guys for being here. I know you guys got a ton of options, and you guys continue to make me one of them. And that's all I can ever ask for, man, giving me a shot. And that's all that ever really takes these days, right? So make sure you guys continue to stay engaged, smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show, continue to share, continue to comment. Even my people on the X side, on the Twitter side, right? Make sure you guys continue to stay engaged as well. If you guys can do me the favor, hit the retweet button, hit that share button, that like button, whatever you got to do to make sure the show continues to grow. Remember, you guys are on the right side of history, and I want to keep it that way. Now, I don't want to waste your time here. I definitely got some things that I want to get into. I definitely got something that I want to talk about. And it's more so singularly related to an individual player. And he's a rookie, of course. I want to spend some time talking about Cooper DeJean, right? He's a very, very intriguing player to discuss. He's the kind of player that makes you excited because of the versatility. And I was reading a tweet, or I was reading some sort of a report, I guess, about what the Philadelphia Eagles' plans are when it comes to how they use Cooper DeJean. And it was interesting because it forced my wheels to start turning. It made me think about exactly what his future could be in Philadelphia. It made me think about the development process, the maturation process. It made me think about all of that. And quite honestly, it put a few things in perspective for me. I think Cooper DeJean is going to be a tremendous player. I think Cooper DeJean has all the tools that you like at the DB spot, at his position. Let's keep in mind, DeJean drafted by the Eagles in the second round, 40th overall. And during his time at Iowa, he was an extremely versatile player. And that versatility helped his team do a lot of different things on defense. His versatility allowed him to be a chess piece on defense. He primarily played the outside corner role, but it was times they'd move him in a nickel, move him at the safety spot. He was all over the field for them. At times, they'll send him as a blitzer. They were really creative with Cooper DeJean because of his unique skill set, because of his versatility, his God-given ability. He gave them a lot of different things they were able to do. And when you draft a guy like that to play for the Philadelphia Eagles, you sort of have a similar expectation. You expect, or you would like to assume, that they're going to be very, very creative in how they deploy Cooper DeJean. And when I saw this quote by Jeremy Fowler, ESPN's senior NFL reporter, he says they, as in the Eagles, will likely start him on the outside and see what he can handle from there, and are cognizant of giving him too many responsibilities too early, despite his versatility. Now, granted, this is what he thinks they're likely to do. I don't know how official this is. I highly doubt this has come from the Philadelphia Eagles themselves. They play it very close to the vest, and the Philadelphia Eagles don't tend to like to show their hand. They believe in gamesmanship in the worst way. But overall, the quote had me thinking about what the overall vision for Cooper DeJean should be. It had me thinking about what exactly they plan to do with a player of this caliber. But before I get into it, I wanted to get some quick shout outs out the way. Shout out to Steve Ike, Chris the Anime Guy, Crawley 26, Fitness Roofer, Chris, where are we? Bruce Banner, Fitness Warrior, Eagles Uncut 2.0. Appreciate you guys for being locked in on the content. It means a lot to me and it always goes a long way. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are engaged in the content. But you draft Cooper DeJean in the second round. You were able to trade up and get him, which was very fortunate for the Philadelphia Eagles. Definitely didn't see it coming. And he brings so much versatility to the table. With his God-given ability, the football IQ, the unique physical traits, all of that allowed him to move into the nickel and also make plays from the safety position as well while he was at Iowa. But when a guy like that comes in with so much versatility and such a robust skill set, it's going to be very, very important to handle his development tactfully. It's going to be vital to put that player in the best possible position to succeed. Because despite the football IQ, despite the unique skill set and the God-given ability and physical traits that he has, despite all those things that we love about him, despite all those things, I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles should not overload his workload. I'll say that again. Despite his football IQ, despite everything he brings to the table with the versatility, being able to play the outside corner, the nickel, the safety, using him in the box because he has such a burly frame as a DB, using him as a blitzer, whatever it may be. Despite his unique skill set, despite the God-given physical traits and abilities in the football IQ, I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles should tread lightly and they should not overload his workload. This is my opinion. Follow me here. And I say this especially if you want him to build confidence at the NFL level. I know a lot of people may disagree with my premise. Some people may say, hey, listen, you drafted the kid, use him. He's a chess piece. He's a weapon. And I think overall, as he continues to develop in the NFL, I think he will develop and become a weapon for the Philadelphia Eagles. I firmly believe he will become that because of the skill set, because of the physical traits, because of everything he brings to the table. I do believe he has a very high ceiling. And again, I know he's capable of a lot. I totally understand that. And look, the Philadelphia Eagles, we know they need a lot of help all across the board. We know with Cooper DeJean's skill set, he could cover a lot of holes for the Philadelphia Eagles just based off of what he's done in college, the skill set, the versatility. Lord knows the Eagles need a player like that in the building, especially when things go awry. But I'm of the mindset where I want Cooper DeJean to master the specific role that he's been given by Vic Fangio. Bruce Banner says, let that fool get his feet wet first, homie. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if you're agreeing or disagreeing, but that's what I'm saying. Let him get his feet wet, because the rumor is they're likely to start him out at outside corner. That's the rumor. And again, that didn't come from the Eagles. That's Jeremy Fowler doing his due diligence. And again, the operative word was likely. So he doesn't know for sure, He's making an educated guess. So that's neither here nor there. But it had my wheels turning. I want the Philadelphia Eagles to be very, very careful how they handle the development of not only Cooper DeJean, but how they handle the development of all these rookies. Because developing these players is going to be so integral. It's going to be so important to the future and longevity of the roster and the overall success of the team and the development of the depth. Because here's what can happen. Here's what can happen. You know, we've seen throughout history when players come into the NFL and they have a wide skill set. They did this in college. They did that. They were versatile on defense. They were at safety and they were at linebacker and they moved around and all that kind of stuff. We've seen guys coming to the NFL with a very versatile skill set, with a very unique skill set, with a unique physical build, unique physical traits. We've seen guys come into the league with unique physical traits that were extremely versatile. But sometimes with that level of versatility, sometimes coaches don't know where or how to use those players. And I don't think that's a player problem. I think that's a coaching problem. And on top of that, these coaches don't even have the same amount of time that they were getting back in the early 2000s and the 90s, with their personnel. They don't have the amount of grass time that they used to have. And I want you guys to try to follow me here. What I'm saying and what I'm speaking on doesn't involve what I think he's capable of over the extent of his career. What I'm talking about is a rookie who has yet to play any NFL snaps, and he comes in with such a versatile skill set. You want him to master something first at the NFL level before you start to increase the workload. You want to make sure he can master a role, master the job you want him to do before you give him anything else to do. It's when you work for any company, when you go into any situation in business, right? Or you got people working for you. If you're a business owner, if you work for someone, when you come in, they're going to give you a select few of responsibilities. And if you prove that you're capable of handling those responsibilities at a high level, at a productive level, then they're going to trust you to add more to your plate. Now, some of you guys may say, well, he did this in college. He was versatile. Tone, you were saying he's more like a safety in your opinion, even though he played outside corner. Yes, I know I said that. And I still feel that way. I still believe in the end he's going to be a safety. That's my humble opinion. I could be totally wrong, and I'm okay with that. But what I'm saying is he has to come in and prove he can do the simple things first before you start adding much more onto his plate. Before you start asking him to play safety one drive, play nickel another drive, be here another. Before you start really using him around like a chess piece, like a Swiss Army knife, you want to make sure he can do the little things first. You want to make sure he can actually do what you asked him to do first. And if the rumors are true, as far as starting him at outside corner, that makes me curious to know what the plans are with James Bradberry in the long run. Now, I'm under the impression that they're likely going to cut Bradberry as a post-June 1st cut. That's my assumption. Could be wrong. Could be right. But then what does that mean for a guy like Quinyon Mitchell? What does that mean for a guy like Isaiah Rodgers, who's trying to work his way up the depth chart? Cooper DeJean, right? Again, I see him as a safety. That's just my humble opinion. But I think it's going to be imperative that the Philadelphia Eagles, that coaching staff, it's going to be so vital for them to handle his development with tender love and care. Whatever Vic Fangio wants Cooper DeJean to do, regardless if it's safety, nickel, or outside corner, remember, the rumor is they're likely going to start him on outside corner. That's the rumor. So I don't know how much I buy into it. Like S. Blunt said, how can you start him at outside corner? How can you start him at outside corner if you have Slay and Mitchell? They want to get him on the field now. He's either nickel or safety. That's my mindset. It's common sense. So that's why when I saw what Jeremy Fowler put out there, and this is no slight on him, but when I saw what he put out there, I was like, really? All right, I mean, I guess. And it made me think about what his role would be on the Philadelphia Eagles defense and how they should handle his development. And regardless, like I said, whatever Vic Fangio wants him to do, regardless if it's safety, nickel, or outside corner, DeJean needs to have a core set of responsibilities that he can master. Because you don't make it in the NFL being a jack of all trades and a master of none. The last thing you want to happen for Cooper DeJean is for him to turn into one of those players that's hard to use because, like I said, throughout history, we've seen players with a wide skill set. Sometimes in certain situations, coaches don't know where or how to use them, and they end up they end up being labeled a tweener. And then they eventually turn into a journeyman around NFL or league circles. So that begs the question. Vic Fangio, the rest of that defensive coaching staff, how much trust do we have in them to handle the player development properly? Especially at the DB position. Because I can't, for the life of me, think about the last DB that the Philadelphia Eagles developed. Maybe Avonte Maddox? Maybe. Is he the last DB they developed? Are you guys willing to say that? Let me move the goalpost a little bit. I can't think of the last DB that they've developed into being a Pro Bowl level talent. Early 2000s, maybe? B-Dog, or was Lito Shepherd ever a Pro Bowler? I got to double check. But the last, you cannot afford to screw up the development of these players. You can't afford to screw up the development of Cooper DeJean. You can't afford to screw up the development of a Quinyon Mitchell. You can't afford to screw up the development of Jalyx Hunt, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. We can't afford to continue to dip into the free agent pool when a player or a draft pick does not work. And then we're going to be looking at Howie like he did something wrong. And I'm sorry. I'm looking at Howie right now as a guy who's clearly making all the moves to make this roster better. He's clearly making all the moves to make this to put the personnel in the building. This coaching staff has to do their damn jobs. Am I coming off abrasive? Am I coming off a bit brazen right now? Likely so. Will I offend some people? Probably. But I don't give a fuck, because the reality is this coaching staff is under the same amount of pressure, if not more, than these players. Nick Sirianni, Vic Fangio, Kellen Moore. You got to develop these boys. You got to develop these guys, man. Because you have to reestablish a core on your defensive side of the ball. On your offense, we know what the core guys are, or we know who the core guys are. On offense, those guys are ready to go. You've Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert, the offensive line, those boys ready to go. Your core is in place on offense. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, they're going to be here for the foreseeable future. And those are the guys that recently got paid, right? So you have to do right by those guys on defense. You have to. What are you going to get out of Nakobe Dean? Can you revitalize Devin White? What will Jeremiah Trotter Jr. turn into? Remember, yesterday when we were speaking, the one thing I said was if the situation we should be hoping for when it comes to Jeremiah Trotter is that we should hope for him to become a Nick Bolton type of player. That was actually what I wanted for Nakobe Dean. Can he be a Nick Bolton type of player? Nick Bolton, former Missouri linebacker, drafted in the 2021 draft, I believe in the second round, drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs, two-time Super Bowl champion, has back-to-back seasons of over 120 tackles for the Chiefs. He's a stat sheet stuffer for them. He's a tackling machine. He plays downhill. He's like 5'11", 230, something like that, 225, maybe 235, if I'm not mistaken. So Nakobe Dean, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., they should hope or aim, or at least us as fans or supporters or enthusiasts, we should be looking for those players to be Nick Bolton type of linebackers. Yes, they're undersized, but they know how to throw their weight around. They know where to be when it's time to be there. They know what to do and when to do it. That's all I'm saying. So when you have Cooper DeJean on your roster, a player that's that versatile, that has shown an ability, has the physical traits, the build, the makeup, the God-given ability, the football IQ, you have a guy like that on your roster that you drafted and you traded up for him, you better do right by his development. You better put the people around him that can get the most out of him. Quinyon Mitchell, same thing. You need to put the right people around those players to make sure they get from point A to point B. Nick Sirianni is not in good standing. Granted, he's an offensive guy. Vic Fangio, OG in the game. But still, I have my concerns about Vic Fangio. I have one concern about Vic Fangio. Actually, two. Really one, but actually two. I have a concern that Vic Fangio coming to Philadelphia is an early retirement package. That's my fear right now. And I'm not hearing too many people talk about that in the media. I haven't heard anybody really dive deep into that. I'm a little nervous that Vic Fangio came to Philly because it's close to his hometown, which is Scranton, PA. It's an early retirement package. He'll be close to family. He's close to retirement. I'm concerned about that aspect of Vic Fangio being in Philadelphia. How all in is he? Now, I'll say this. I don't want to disrespect the man. I don't want to doubt or cast aspersions on his commitment to the game. But Vic Fangio has been doing this for a long time. And he's been trying to get to Philadelphia for the past few seasons. And he's finally here. And we know how he's from Scranton and he got family here and this is what he wants and he didn't really do well with the Miami lifestyle and all that. Okay, fair enough. But Vic Fangio, you better not be hitting a lick. You better not be punching out early. I need your all. We expect everything from Quinyon Mitchell. We expect everything from Darius Slay. We expect Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter to give us their all, right? Nakobe Dean, CJ GJ, Sidney Brown, Reed Blankenship. I can go on, Josh Sweat. No, we expect the personnel to give their all. We have that expectation. But I want these coaches to give their all as well. I don't want a coach here that's going to be mailing it in. And the only person I'm remotely concerned about in terms of that is Vic Fangio, because of the nature and how he got here, the ties to Scranton, him being close to retirement. I have a bit of a concern about his commitment to the Philadelphia Eagles. And not too many people want to stand on that. But I will. Because y'all know how I give it up. I hold it down for the Eagles. I hold them accountable. I'm always going to give my raw, passionate, unfiltered opinion. That's just me. I'm going to do that. So I'm not going to pull any punches, especially when I know you guys are spending big money on the tickets, when you guys are spending big money on the merchandise, when you guys spend big money to go to Detroit and watch the draft, when you guys spend money on the NFL Sunday ticket and Red Zone and NFL Plus and Amazon and Peacock, when you guys put that kind of money in preparing for Super Bowl Sundays, or just your week 1 or week 5 or week 12, Sunday or Monday or Thursday, the amount of money people invest in parking, concessions, merchandise, memorabilia, donating to the autism to the Autism Foundation, which is a beautiful thing the Philadelphia Eagles do. But God damn it, I'm telling you, if we expect everything from the players, we better expect everything from these coaches as well. Player development is going to be huge. Huge. Because I'm personally having a hard time finding the player on defense that they've developed. It's scattered. Josh Sweat, okay, all right. Maybe I'll give them Josh Sweat. Avonte Maddox, I'll give them that, but he can't stay healthy. So how valuable is it? I mean, BG ultimately became a player, but he was, he's on the back end. You have to make sure that these past 3 draft classes are supposed to be the new school, the foundation of what this roster is going to look and feel like for the next 5 to 10 years, maybe. When you draft Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson in the 1st and 2nd rounds, respectively, you draft Cam Jurgens in the 2nd round. You draft Jordan Davis in the 1st round. You draft Jalen Carter in the 1st round. Nolan Smith in the 1st round. Just to name a few. Nakobe Dean in the 3rd round. You're going to have to start getting something consistent and of substance from those players. Now, Devontae Smith, show improved. Already got his 2nd contract. Landon Dickerson, show improved. Already got his 2nd contract. Jordan Davis, who are you really? Nakobe Dean, who are you really? Jalen Carter came in damn near ready-made. But can he stay disciplined and keep his head down and stay out the way and keep his hands clean? He's a young player still, something that we could have to continue to monitor. I don't think he's a bad kid. I don't think he's a bad guy at all. But again, got to monitor it. I love where Daniel Bigelow just went here. I love where Daniel Bigelow just went here. And he made it well known with the $5 investment. Thank you, Daniel. I really appreciate you. I love where you're taking this conversation because this is the next arc in this conversation here. He says the Eagles develop players, they just don't re-sign them. TJ Edwards, Hargrave. Eagles can develop players, they just don't re-sign them for some reason. Well, Hargrave, I may push back on that a little bit. Hargrave, they didn't draft Hargrave at all. They only had Hargrave here for 2 years. He was primarily developed in Pittsburgh. That's just me. That's just me giving my honest opinion about that. He wasn't developed in Philadelphia. He was developed in Pittsburgh. You know, that's just me. But TJ Edwards, that's a very important piece that you brought up. The Philadelphia Eagles signed TJ Edwards as an undrafted free agent, developed him, watched him grow into being a stable linebacker, a player you can trust. And they say, you know what? Nah, we're good. They let him walk. They let him go to Chicago. For what? $6 million a year, $5 million a year, whatever it was. You see, when you develop players, you can't let them walk out the damn building. I don't care if you drafted him or he was undrafted. I don't give a damn. You draft a guy. I mean, you bring a guy in, regardless of how he got to your roster. I'm sorry, I look at undrafted rookies and 7th, 6th rounders all the same to me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The one thing that could separate a 6th rounder or a 5th rounder from being undrafted is a damn 40-yard dash. Just ask TJ Edwards. TJ Edwards was a runner-up, I believe, for the Dick Butkus Award, if I'm not mistaken. He was a runner-up for when he was at Wisconsin. And you want to know why TJ Edwards didn't get drafted? Because he botched his 40-yard dash. Now, granted, he's not the fastest linebacker. Not the fastest at all. But in terms of football IQ, in terms of knowing how to play the position, you can't deny it. You can't deny it. So overall, development is going to be so important for the Philadelphia Eagles. Daniel Bigelow, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Ray Lester says they let Hicks walk too. Another player now. Granted, Hicks had a lengthy injury history, and for some reason, he got healthier once he left Philadelphia. I don't know what to say about that, but it happened. But regardless, bringing it back to Cooper DeJean, because I feel like he has maybe the most unique skill set out of everybody the Philadelphia Eagles drafted, maybe him and Jalyx Hunt. But Cooper DeJean in particular, I think he has the most versatile skill set out of everybody they drafted. He may be the most intriguing piece to the puzzle. But I believe the Eagles will be doing the right thing if they say, hey, look, Cooper, here's our plan for you, right? Here's our long-term vision. And then here's our short-term vision. Here is our vision in the macro, but here's our vision in the micro. And I think they should have him focus on the micro. If you ask me, and I think I said it earlier in the show, Cooper DeJean's ceiling is very high. And I personally see him as a high-level safety that can move around all over the field. I genuinely see him being a chess piece, just operating in the middle of the field. Safety. Maybe they bring him down in the nickel spot for a little bit. But I ultimately see him as being a high-impact safety. That's my humble opinion. Essentially, I expect him to become a defensive weapon. But whatever Vic Fangio and the Eagles ultimately decide his role will be in 2024, that needs to be his sole focus. And again, going back to what Jeremy Fowler, ESPN senior NFL reporter, going back to what he said, he's of the belief that they will, and I quote, they will likely start him being Cooper DeJean, they will likely start DeJean on the outside and see what he can handle from there, and are cognizant of giving him too many responsibilities too early, despite his versatility. So I'll say this. Although I'm unsure if they're going to use him on the outside or the inside or safety, although I'm quite unsure about what that's going to be in the long term, the one thing that stands out about this quote that I do love, if it's accurate, the one thing I do love about this quote is the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles are extremely aware. They're hyper aware of the player's versatility, and they want to make sure that they don't overload his workload. They want to make sure that they don't give him too many responsibilities too soon. You can break a player that way. You can ruin a player that way by giving him too much to remember. And then eventually he becomes a player that's out there thinking too much. He's not confident in his job because he's been asked to do too many things at one time. But ultimately, not only is it going to come down to player development, it's going to come down to Cooper DeJean's capacity. I think he's a smart player, high football IQ, not disparaging that. But it's also going to come down to whether or not Cooper DeJean will have the capacity to retain everything and how quickly he's able to apply everything he's learning from Vic Fangio. And Vic Fangio is not the only one we're looking at here. We're going to be looking at Christian Parker, who's the pass game coordinator and also the one of the defensive backs coaches. We're going to be looking at Roy Anderson, a cornerbacks coach. We're going to be looking at Joe Casper, safeties coach, a guy they brought in. All three of those guys are new. Joe Casper, the safeties coach, Roy Anderson, the cornerbacks coach, Christian Parker, the defensive backs coach as a whole, and the pass game coordinator. All three of those guys are new. So I'm going to be paying close attention to how Quinyon Mitchell is developed, how Cooper DeJean is developed, everybody, but more so the DBs, because the DBs has been a position that the Philadelphia Eagles have habitually missed on. It's a fact. It's not a question. It's just a matter of what draft you want to pick apart. That's what it comes down to. The Eagles have not done well. And if you're just hopping in, hold on. Time's out. I'm sorry, you guys. Bryce Harper just hit a grand slam. JJ, for real? Harper just hit a grand slam? Oh, my God. I got to find it. Let me go on Twitter. I got to find it. I'm sorry, y'all. Sidebar. I am a Phillies fan, too. Don't get me wrong. I got to find it now. Hold on. Let me go on Twitter. I got to find it now. Oh, no. Oh, hold on. I got to hear that.
Oh! Fly ball to deep right field. Springer's going back.
Oh!
It is gone!
Ooh, baby.
Bryce Harper!
Man. Bryce Harper. Okay, Playboy. Okay. I like that. Oh. Okay. Hey, I took it off. I ain't have it on there long. I didn't have it on there long. Let me make sure my stuff's still good. It wasn't on there long. All right, we good. We good. We still monetized. We good. We still monetized. We good. We all right. 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 But yeah, again, Fitness Warrior says Parker, the corners coach. Let me make sure. Christian Parker. He says here Christian Parker coached Surtain and the other cornerbacks on the Broncos. Hey, that's a good resume. That's a good resume. I think Joe Casper. Let me make sure I got Joe Casper right. Joe Casper, he spent 1 year working for the Miami Dolphins as well. You know, working with Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, guys like that. Let me see. He also, I mean, this also isn't his first stint in Philadelphia as well. He was the defensive quality control coach with the Eagles in 2021 and 2022. And I'm talking about Joe Casper. So, but he's worked his way up to being a safeties coach. Not bad. But regardless, though, these coaches, they got to earn their keep too. And these players are going to have to continue to develop. The development is going to be key. That's what's going to come down to that. You got a guy in DeJean who has a very unique skill set. You have a guy in Jalyx who ultimately is a little bit of a project. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. It all remains to be seen at the end of the day. It all remains to be seen. But you have players, you have talent now. You have talent. Now, how are you going to maximize that talent? What are you going to do with it? Let me take it a step further. Darius Slay, maybe his last year with the Eagles. James Bradbury, maybe his last year with the Eagles, or just may get cut. CJGJ, although I love the player, love everything he brings to the table, his health is something I'm a little concerned about. Just a little bit. Just a smidge. Remember, CJGJ missed damn near half the season with the Eagles in 2022. He damn near missed the whole season in 2023. So although I love the player, love the skill set, love the addition, love the contract they gave him, love the tenacity, the personality, the edge, the cockiness, the arrogance, the confidence he brings to the table. I love all of that. But can he stay healthy? Can CJGJ stay healthy? Darius Slay is on his way out. James Bradbury is on his way out. Once you get beyond those guys, ultimately, I do think CJGJ will be fine. Let me make that clear. I think he will. But I have my little concerns, though. But after Slay, after Bradbury, you're going to need Quinyon Mitchell to become your guy. You're going to need Cooper DeJean to become your guy. Keely Ringo, he's another player that flies under the radar. Keely Ringo, can you work your way up the depth chart and be a player that the Philadelphia Eagles can trust? Isaiah Rodgers, what does your future hold, my brother? Eli Ricks, Mario Goodrich, guys like that. What's your ceiling? And we have questioned the coaching staff and their ability to develop players year after year after year. Now you have guys who have the physical tools, they're talented, The measurables, everything checks out. But can you have them ready and locked and loaded on Sunday? That's the multi-million-dollar question. Because I firmly believe, and this is my humble opinion, and I'm not moving off of this, Quinyon Mitchell must be a day one starter. Quinyon Mitchell has to be a day one starter. Cooper DeJean has to see grass time early. I'm standing on that. I'm not even entertaining any other outcome. I'm not entertaining any other process. I'm not. Are my expectations unrealistic? I quite frankly don't give a damn. Because that defense needs bodies playing. They need talented guys back there playing. You don't draft 2 DBs back to back if you trust the guys you already got on your roster. I'm sorry. That just doesn't happen. It just does not happen. You don't draft the number 1 corner in the draft and one of the top 5 corners in the draft and say, hey, we're completely comfortable with our DB room, by the way. Nothing to see here. No, you bring those guys in because you know you need more talent there. You know you need a future and a life beyond Darius Slay, beyond James Bradbury. So personally, I expect James Bradbury to be cut as post June 1st. He'll catch on somewhere, I'm sure. Quinyon Mitchell, get your head in the playbook, son. I expect it. When I talk like this, I don't want people to misconstrue my passion with a lack of understanding and a lack of acknowledgement for the process and what it takes to be an NFL pro. Quinyon Mitchell came in being a very polished player. He checked all the boxes, not just on the field, but also off the field. Great character guy. He checks all the boxes. A student of the game, a student of the craft. Wants to learn from a guy like Darius Slay. Cooper DeJean wants to learn from guys like Slay, GJ Bradbury. I even respect DeJean and Mitchell for acknowledging James Bradbury and saying, hey, I want to learn from him too. So overall, these players have to be impact players. At the very least, I would be totally okay. I would be totally okay if Mitchell and DeJean were the only 2 starters from the 2024 draft class. I don't expect Jalyx to get a lot of grass time in 2024. I don't expect Jeremiah Trotter to get a ton of defensive grass time. I expect Jalyx and Jeremiah Trotter to make impacts on special teams. I definitely expect that. I expect Mitchell and DeJean to get a lot of grass time on defense, but everybody after them, Jalyx, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., all those kind of guys, I expect them to get a ton of grass time in special teams. Anias Smith, Johnny Wilson, Aaron Moorhead has done a pretty good job with Smitty and with Brown. It doesn't get talked about enough that A.J. Brown has had his best years playing with the Philadelphia Eagles and being coached by Aaron Moorhead. It doesn't get talked about enough. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Kyle Kokorski says Trevor Keegan may get playing time. I think Trevor Keegan is directly competing with Tyler Steen and Matt Hennessy to be that starting right guard. I know some people think that's a bit blasphemous to jump out the window, but I think Trevor Keegan can do it. Big Pickens said something very, very, very valuable that I want to add to the show here. He says, I want Quinyon Mitchell to beat out Bradbury. Don't just give it to him. I like that mindset. I'm not going to lie to you. I like that mindset. And to your point, Big Pickin, if in any way I implied that I want Quinyon Mitchell to just be given something, or Cooper DeJean, if I implied, and I'm not saying you said this, but if I implied in any way that I want those players to start day one just because you drafted them, that's not my angle here. But I'm so glad you said this because it allows me to make my point clear. Yes, I want those players to be day one impact players on defense. Yes, I expect those guys to be day one starters, however you want to slice it, right? But what I don't want and what I don't expect is I don't want or I don't expect Quinyon Mitchell or Cooper DeJean to just be given starting spots. With all due respect to them, yeah, I know the Philadelphia Eagles went through a little skid last season, but you got Darius Slay and James Bradbury in front of you. Those guys have together combined, what, 20 plus years of NFL experience, if I'm not mistaken, between the both of them? What, 20 years of NFL experience between the both of them at DB, at corner? So you better believe, hey, you want James Bradbury spot? You want Avonte Maddox? Listen, between Avonte Maddox, Darius Slay, and James Bradbury, there has to be nearly 30 years, nearly between 25 to 30 years of NFL experience between Darius Slay, James Bradbury, and Avonte Maddox. Has to be between 24 to 28 years of total experience between those guys. You want Avonte Maddox spot? You better beat him out. You want James Bradbury spot? You better beat him out. Simple as that. And to be frank with you, James Bradbury is not going to give up without a fight. James Bradbury has a huge chip on his shoulder. He knows he's coming off of his worst season of his career. He was watching the draft. He knows that the Philadelphia Eagles drafted Quinyon Mitchell in the first round, drafted Cooper DeJean in the second round. He know what time it is. He understands the assignment. So don't think Bradbury is going to make it easy for the young blood. Don't think Avonte Maddox, no, this is his lifeline here. He's a very physical player when healthy, but when healthy. So Mitchell, DeJean, bring it. Bring it. I also like what my man said. Where is it? Nick N. He says from what you're saying, this is the reason there's 18 DBs on the roster right now, seeing who can play and who can't. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I like it. I like it. You got a new defensive coaching staff. They have no familiarity with any of these players. You need to give them enough bullets in the gun so they can hit their mark. You have to give these coaches enough or a large enough sample size so they can wean out the real from the fake. And that goes for the linebacker position too. Listen, man, this depth chart is insane. The Eagles' depth chart is off the charts. Just take a look at this. Just look at the Philadelphia Eagles depth chart on defense. I'm about to pull it up for you guys right now. Just look at this. And shout out to my man Nick N for contributing to the show. I appreciate you. Just look at this. Steve Ike says the more competition, the better. Dwight Jones says Mitchell is ready. He has a chip. He did not go running to Alabama when Nick Saban called him. Hey, that matters to me too. MJS says Dingleberry better leave town. Bray Lester says Bumbleberry took last season off after he got that big check. But listen, but look at the depth chart. Just look at the bodies. And as of right now, based off of this depth chart, they already have Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean slotted in the number one spot at corner and nickel. And OurLads.com does an amazing job with documenting depth charts and predicting what they may look like. So, again, I don't know what James Bradbury's future holds. Could he get cut? It all depends. Avonte Maddox, what does his future hold? Who knows? But let's just count the DBs. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 DBs. Like my man said, 18 DBs. Let's count the linebackers, shall we? And I'm talking about the inside linebackers more so than anything, not the edge rushers. Nakobe Dean, 1. Devin White, 2. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., 3. Burks, 4. Zach Bond, 5. Ben Van Sumeren, 6. Brandon Smith, 7. Julian Okora, 8. Louis Terrell, like you have so many linebackers. So many. The linebacker and the DB competition is going to be through. Oh, Fitness Warrior, thank you. Make it 19. Make it 19. Let's scroll down. Where are we? Yeah, make it 19, actually. If you count Sean Stephens. So you have 19 DBs on your roster currently competing. And if you want to eliminate Darius Slay and CJ Gardner, because look, Darius Slay, CJ Gardner-Johnson, I think those two out of all, you know what's crazy? Out of all the DBs, Darius Slay and CJ Gardner-Johnson, in my opinion, are the only guarantees to be day one starters. Reed Blankenship was a starter last year, but with all this new talent, he's not guaranteed anything. Remember, the Eagles drafted Sidney Brown as well. What will he turn into? Keely Ringo, what will he turn into? So, as far as I'm concerned, there's only 2 DBs on this roster who are guaranteed to be day one starters, and that's Darius Slay and CJ Gardner-Johnson. Anybody after that, you better run it up. Isaiah Rodgers, same thing. He's here. He's not, I don't think he's guaranteed a starting spot. Brian Biding says the Eagles are going to run a lot of big nickel. That's what I think too. That's what I think too. I love big nickel because it gives you that blend of, coverage ability while having a little bit of a bigger body back there and, an extra safety, a guy that can cover, but also play in the box. So I actually agree with you, Brian. I think we're going to see a lot of big nickel. Don't be surprised if you see situations where you see C.J. Gardner-Johnson on the field, Reed Blankenship on the field, and Sidney Brown, or a combination of C.J., G.J., Blankenship, Sidney, and DeJean. Don't be surprised if you see a combination of those 4 guys in the big nickel. Remember, the big nickel is when you have 3 safeties on the field, right? Still 5 DBs, but instead of having that extra nickel corner, you have that extra safety in the nickel. Hence why they call it the big nickel. But the competition is here. The most competition is definitely in the nickel, though, because will Cooper DeJean play the nickel? Will Levante Maddox play the nickel? Tyler Hall, like it's the competition is heating up without a shadow of a doubt. Make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. It really helps. We have 159 people tuning in, 95 on YouTube, 64 on X. Make sure you guys please smash that like button. It means a lot to me. It really helps the content grow. All my YouTube people, make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. We got 56 likes, over 90 people in the live stream. I need that to match up. So I appreciate you guys. Keon, he says, do you guys think Reed Blankenship is a lock to start? No. No, I don't. I don't think Reed Blankenship is guaranteed anything. Now, what I will say is the Philadelphia Eagles extended him beyond just this season. You know, originally he was coming into the season, entering the final year of his deal, but they added another year on the back end of his deal, so they gave him a little bit more security. So Reed Blankenship will be on the payroll this year and next season. But I don't think Reed Blankenship is guaranteed anything. Kyle Kokorski says, Tone, nobody's job safe on defense. There's some people whose job is safe. I don't think that's quite correct, Kyle. I understand in essence, you're trying to prove the point that everybody has to prove it, right? I understand your angle, but there are a couple guys on it. There are a few guys on defense where their spot is theirs. Darius Slay, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Jalen Carter, Josh Sweat, Bryce Huff. There's a lot of guys on defense who their job is secure. Even Jordan Davis, believe it or not, his job is secure. But when it comes to the DB room, beyond C.J. Gardner-Johnson, beyond Darius Slay, those guys are going to play. Fitness Warrior says, not with Fangio. Y'all must not know how Fangio coaches. Look, I'm not saying he's going to accept mediocrity. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Vic Fangio is going to accept mediocrity and he's just going to put guys on the field. But there are some guys on defense where they're going to play. Darius Slay is one of them. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is one of them. Jalen Carter is one of them. Josh Sweat is one of them. You know, it could be more. But CB2 is not a lock. The nickel is not a lock. The free safety spot or strong safety, who like the second safety position, is not a lock. You know? Let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask y'all a hypothetical here. And this may make some of you guys nervous. This may make some of you guys uncomfortable, but I want to know what you guys think about this. Excuse me. And again, it's only a hypothetical. Only a hypothetical. I want to bring up the depth chart again. What if, follow me here, what if Jalyx Hunt ends up being better than we thought? What if Jalyx Hunt ends up learning the playbook and picking up new pass rush moves? What if Jalyx Hunt ends up being a fast learner on top of having the versatility physically, the versatility in terms of the football IQ, the speed, the size, all of that stuff? What if Jalyx Hunt ends up being a fast learner? What if he ends up being better than what we thought? The real question I want to ask, what if Jalyx Hunt outplays Nolan Smith in the offseason? No, Khalil, it's not simple. It's not simple. It's not simple. What if Jalyx Hunt outplays Nolan Smith in training camp? How do we feel about Nolan Smith then? It's something we have to consider. Because although Nolan Smith was drafted in the first round, he barely got grass time last year. He's relatively undersized, and he has a nagging shoulder injury. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know any injury history about Jalyx Hunt. But I think from a physical perspective, if you look at listen, you guys, now we're cooking here. So follow me. When you look at Jalyx Hunt, you look at Nolan Smith. Who looks more ferocious? Who looks more like the edge rusher? I'm asking y'all. Who looks more like the edge rusher? So Nolan Smith is another player that the Philadelphia Eagles have to make sure they develop him and get the most out of him. He was a first-round pick. He may have been picked in the third. He may have been the 30th overall pick or 31st, whatever it is. But you drafted him. And this is about grass time. Now, in 2025, things may look a little different. BG won't be here, so it'll be another spot open. But as of right now, your starting edge rushers are Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat. Davon Tyree says, I really don't like losing Reddick. We're really going to see what these young bucks going to do. Yeah, you're right. You're right, man. I'm getting over it. You know, I'm kind of over it. It is what it is. I understand your perspective, though, but I'm kind of over it. Make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. We got 99 people tuned in on YouTube, 66 people tuned in on X. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys, as you come in, make sure you hit that like button. That is a prerequisite, you guys. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show, especially if you're new. I appreciate it. Fitness Warrior says Jalyx Hunt is built for the run game and pass game. Nolan Smith is light in the game. Okay. Jeez. Fitness, you crazy, man. Crazy, man. But Jalyx Hunt, 6'5", 6'4", 250, compared to Nolan Smith's, 6'2", 6'1", 230, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure I got that right. Nolan Smith, 6'2", 238. Okay, 238. So, you know, the bottom line is, wow. Brian Biding says, I would rather see Hunt over Nolan Smith. Big Rhythm says, is there a reason Nolan can't play off ball? Just can't do it, probably. Probably just can't do it. But look, we're so early, right? We're so early in the process. We're so early in the process, and so much still has to be found out. So please don't get me wrong here. I have high expectations for all of these rookies, for all of these guys on this roster. I have high expectations from Vic Fangio. I have high expectations from Clint Hurt. I have high expectations for Christian Parker. I have high expectations of Roy Anderson, Joe Casper, Bobby King, Jeremiah Washburn. I have high expectations for all of these defensive guys, right? Because player development, and we're going to bring this full circle. Cooper DeJean, he's such a versatile player. But you don't want to screw that up. You don't want to overload that kid's bandwidth. And look, you go as far as he takes you. And what I mean by that is if he's picking up things quick and he's always where he's supposed to be, and he's reading and reacting, hey, do whatever you want to do with him. But I would love for them to find his role, allow him to master it, and then you start to add in and sprinkle some things in and get creative as you get deeper into the season. You feel what I'm saying? Because remember, this is a week-to-week proposition. In my humble opinion, once you get to like week 12, week 13, week 14, you're not a damn rookie no more. You win it. You win it. S. Blunt says, take a shot on top sack leaders this year in order. Ooh. You're talking about on the team? Just want to make sure. Just want to make sure I got you, S. Blunt. You're talking about on the team, right? Players? Like who's going to lead the team in sacks? Okay. All right. So, that's a good question. That's a good question. I don't honestly, S. Blunt, I don't know if I'm ready to answer that yet. OG, you know I love you. You know I love you. I don't know if I'm ready to answer that yet. I don't know if I'm ready to answer that yet, but I will because you asked and you paid for it as well. And I am a man of the people. So I'm going to take a shot in the dark. And please don't lock me into this. Okay? This is just off the top. Because when we get closer to the season, we're going to start making our predictions about who leads the team in interceptions, who's going to lead the team in sacks, tackles, touchdowns, all that kind of stuff, right? We're gonna do our early. We're gonna do our predictions as we get closer. But I'm going to answer this question, so don't lock me in on this. I think if and thank you, Master Avenger. I'm going to get to you next. I think Bryce Huff is. I think Bryce Huff would be one. I think Bryce Huff would be one. I think Jalen Carter will be two. Josh Sweat 3. Nolan Smith 4. BG 5. Yeah. That's what I think. So what I say? I said Bryce Huff 1, Jalen Carter 2, Sweat 3, Nolan Smith 4, Brandon Graham 5. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of that? Brian likes it. Okay. Lonely B says good top 5. Keon says, what do the sack numbers look like, though? That's a good question. It's a good question. How many sacks did we have last year, for one? Let me see that. Let me double check that. Let me see how many sacks the Eagles had last year. So last year, the Philadelphia Eagles had 43 sacks. That's nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough. Coming off of a season where you had 43 sacks, I think the Eagles will have who had the most sacks last year? Let me see. I need to gauge this properly first before I jump out the window. So don't kill me, you guys. All right, so the Ravens led the league with 60 sacks. Chiefs had 57. Dolphins had 56. Bills had 54. Colts had 51. Those are the top 5. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to go from having 43 sacks in 2023 to having 54 sacks. I think they'll have 54 sacks in 2024. That's my number. I think the Eagles will have a grand total of 54 sacks. My man Master Avenger says not only Brad B, but if he's the starting outside corner, this means we're in big trouble. He cannot hang with these primetime receivers anymore, bro. No, I agree with you, man. Bradbury is I think he doesn't look. Here's the thing, right? Bradbury was getting burnt. He was getting burnt. You know the sad thing about Bradbury's situation? It wasn't like he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He just wasn't fast enough. That was the most sad thing to watch about Bradbury's 2023 campaign. It wasn't as if he was in the wrong place. He just kept getting cooked. He had no leg speed. He had no lateral quickness. It was like he couldn't get there fast enough. It was like he couldn't react. It was like he was stuck in cement. So, although I think it's important that Quinyon Mitchell beats out Bradbury if he's on the roster at that point, although I think it's important he beats him out, I also think, man, you really don't want Bradbury out there regardless, man. You want Quinn. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I don't mean no harm. I think Bradbury's going to come back and play and have a better season than last year, but I don't know if that's going to be in Philadelphia. You draft Quinyon Mitchell in the first round, you want him to play on day one. That's what you want. You want him to knock the dust off early. So, Master Avenger, I feel you. Bradbury, he's slow. He's slow. He's so fucking slow. Chris Scott says Bradbury's getting released 100%. That's what I think. I think Bradbury's getting released. I'm 99% sure he's getting released. That's my humble opinion, though. MJS says no way they draft that way if they're keeping trash. Listen, I'm not calling that man Trashberry. But I feel you. No way you draft the way they did and you keep Bradbury. My man Davon Tyree with the $1.99 super. Also, thank you, Master Avenger, for the 49 super chat. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all of you guys for donating to the channel. Daniel Bigelow, I appreciate you. My man S. Blunt, I appreciate you. Master Avenger, thank you so much, my friend. And now my man Davon Tyree with the $1.99 super. He says, Tone, what games are you attending this year? Man, that's a good question. That's a really good question. Obviously, I'm in Texas now. I live in Texas. So that's so that's going to be my situation. If I can get back to Philly, I definitely want to go to one for sure. So I can't really guarantee which games I'll be at. If I am at a game, though, you guys would be the first to know. I would love to meet some of you guys, take some pictures, show love. You know what I mean? Have a good time. But I can't. But I don't really know which games I'm gonna be at quite yet. If I even get the one. But if I do get the one, I'm definitely letting y'all know. Y'all know how I'm giving it up. Y'all know how I'm giving it up. Fitness says time returns. Yo, I like the Texans, man. I like their roster. I like their roster. I can't even front. I like that Texans roster. I think the Texans are better than the Cowboys now. That's just my opinion, though. Yeah. Let's see here. But yeah. As Blunt says, the schedule is projected to come out Thursday. Bet. I can't wait for that. Brian Biding says Texans look good. Man, they look better than good. They look better than good. They were hanging with the Ravens until things got a little tricky. Hoodie J says, you going to any Texas games? I don't know. We'll see. I'll be honest with you, man. I do not want to go to the Cowboys stadium. Can't stand them motherfuckers. I don't even want to even sit in their chairs. I don't even want to breathe the air in Arlington. I don't even want to breathe the air. I'd much rather go to a Texans game than a Dallas game. Fuck Dallas. They ain't getting my money. Sorry. I'd much rather give it to Houston. Matter of fact, is Houston on the Eagles schedule this year? Let me see. Nope. Damn. I kind of wish Houston was on their schedule this year. Damn. Nope. I would have loved to see that. I would love to go to a Texans game, though. I think that'd be real fun. Go to a Houston Texans game, and the price just went up on them Texans tickets. They did. They got a quarterback now. They got receivers. The defense is pretty solid. The prices went up. But like I said, if I make it to an Eagles game this year, y'all know I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna let y'all know for sure. But look, today's live stream going to be kind of short. I'm about to get out of here. I always want to touch base with you guys and check the temperature. I really appreciate you guys always showing love, always locking in with the content. Please, please, please make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys, okay. Yeah, there we go. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys continue to stay engaged in the content. I always love you guys, man. And I appreciate a lot of you guys investing in the channel. Means a lot to me. It always does. So yeah, again, smash that like button. Make sure you guys continue to comment and share the show. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Thank you so much to my Twitter X family for showing love. 73 of you guys in the live stream. Thank you so much to my YouTube family. Please make sure you guys hit that like button. Let's try to get it to 100 likes if we can. You guys are so dope. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. You guys have been locked in on Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.